Councilman Adams, District 1.
Wow. I agree with Councilman Brownlee on one thing. The letter that we got today from Josh Mandel, first time I agreed with him too. We did pass legislation to have on our city website our expenditures and expenses. And I would like to see this, and we'll have discussions at the council to see what we're going to do if we'd like to do this. I think it's a good thing. I agree with him on that. And I think some of you been to the meetings that we have had out of the 64 meetings or so since last summer on our financial problems. And Irene just got here, the finance director. We do have a financial problem, but not created by this council, the mayor, or the finance director. We've been over it. Let's say 63, 64 meetings, 61 meetings. Tell the residents how we got here. Go to the neighborhood news, all the past issues, it's there. And if you don't believe us, and you believe Mr. Brownlee, I don't see life preservers in here, so we're not sinking. Take a look at the reports. We're creeping on it. And why we're creeping on it? We have everybody laid off to make progress. We operate the city in a financial manner to get us there. We could cry, you want building, you want finance, you want this, I do too. Service workers more than anything. But reality, as far as companies coming to Maple Heights, keep preaching that gloom and doom, and they'll never come here. This is a good city. We have to build it up. And if you take away the senior center, that is bringing it to the bottom. Because you don't have anybody that want to come to this city. Because you don't have nothing to offer. Nothing. The state and the county took it from us. I've been getting phone calls since. It was in the paper about the demo on the houses. People wonder, is my house on this house on my street? On my street? Then I'm getting calls. Why don't we have people buy these houses and fix them up instead of tearing them down? Well, Tony's been working on this for 2 years. There's houses for sale for $20,000. $5,000. There you go. But who's going to put more money to fix it than the house is worth? And that's what a company does. As far as people moving in, get rid of the old, build up the neighborhoods we got. Keep them nice. Keep on them. Keep the garbage in. I get calls still yet on garbage. And I gotta go knock on doors till the people learn. And if you're gonna do that, that brings the city down. And I think the neighbors ought to tell the neighbor, listen, this is the ordinance. We don't want our city to go down. Don't come and blame us. But I go out and do it. They move it, throw all the garbage out on the street. How do you expect the garbage man to pick it up? You get a phone call cursing us. How's come they leaving that set there? Residents supposed to call in, tell them, I'm moving, I got all this stuff I'm gonna get out, and they'll send extra men to help pick it up. One guy can't do it. And that is given when you rent and buy a house. We have to make our communities livable, nice, and people will come in. Don't preach us, crew. We went through the budget, we did what we could do. And it is not going to go down. We're making headway thanks to our reading and the mayor. We can't fight each other. I know it's a political year. We all want to make points. But lay it where it is. It's been noted, written on, and documented. And we cut $4 million. It's there how much money they took back from us. And we can't make up. Look at the foreclosures. That ain't mayor's fault. Ain't this council's fault. And it isn't Irene's fault. It's called. So before you talk like that, Bill, say it like it is. Say it like it is. Oh, one more thing. I'd like to thank Jim Lowe for his donation for buying cameras to the police department. And what happened up at Dunham Park is outrageous, and what happened to all our parks. And you talk about bringing people to the city. You tell me kids could do that and nobody's seen it, nobody made a phone call. If I'd have got a phone call, I'd have been right down there and I'd have called the police. Until we start working to make this city better for ourselves, that's the way it's going to be. And that's going to cost money to fix. Take a look at Linda's picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Councilwoman Jones, District 2.
I would like to congratulate Mr. Brownlee by having the one person that was standing behind the crowd that's sitting there, Mr. Fakwe, and I'm sorry, Edwina, I don't really know his name, who actually walked out. When we have a person that comes to council meeting that's so excited about moving a business here and opening up a bowling alley or whatever business it is, and you insult him to his face, mock him because he was actually coming, you know, to say that we were doing a good job, the man walked out. And I don't know if it was because of, and I'm sorry, I know you can't speak, but you know, I apologize to that person because I don't think that that was really fair. And that's one of the reasons why we may not be able to have businesses come here. So this is actually a council report. What we need to do is we need to rebuild this city, and I'm not going to talk about finances, and I'm not going to talk about why we need the senior center. We need to have action, and I'm tired of hearing about, oh, we need a plan for this, we need a plan for this. And I'm very glad to see that there are people that are here in this audience that are actually running for public office, because you guys get to see firsthand what you're going to be dealing with. And that's something that's really good. And I'm glad that he came back, so thank you, ma'am. There is going to be a housing committee meeting on Wednesday the 22nd, and the agenda topic is going to be changing the vacant housing ordinance so that we could include homes that are going through tax certificate foreclosure, so we could include those in so we could gain some revenue from their vacant housing registration, because currently we don't address that issue. The second agenda item is going to be the sale of residential vacant lots, so we could have some type of an agenda of how much those lots are going to be, what we're going to require for people. You know, do they need to have currency in their own property tax, what their use is of a side yard. So we are going to create legislation, and I do invite people to come to this meeting. The third thing on the agenda is something that Bill was trying to allude to. But there's going to be discussion of how to create a community development corporation. And I would really encourage the people that are running for office to come to this meeting, because what that type of organization does, because I worked for one and I still work for one for the past 20 years, what we do is we do things to benefit the community across political lines. We help people in mediation, we help renovate homes, we help people find ways to fix up their homes. We have neighbors talk to each other so they actually help out and actually learn how to be a community. And I'm sorry I'm staring that way, so I'm gonna look this way. And I did that last time too, so I apologize. We need to start just picking up the pieces and working together. I'm tired of hearing the separation and the division that's here, because we all live here, so that's the one thing that our commonality. And I'm fearful of this wedge that's being driven down into the ground, just separating us, and we can't do this because we do have a good city. You are right, Alex. And everybody wouldn't be sitting here if they didn't care about something. You're here because of some reason. So I'm going to give you a tale of two cities, and this is part of my report. One of them is on Dunham Road, and it is a property that went through tax foreclosure. It is now received by the county land bank. The address is 5667 Dunham. I'm assuming that, oh my God, both of these houses are in Anthony's district. It is a house that is up for sale. The minimum bid is $5,000. They have specifications online. What the county estimates this home to be livable is about $12,000 in repairs. This is what we need to market to people that could have an affordable home and relocate a family into the city. The second tale of this saga is, I don't know how many people actually looked at my Facebook page or listened to the news yesterday. There is a man, and his name is Bruce Douglas, and he was an ex-state rep in Colorado. He owns a couple of houses in Slavic Village that are in deplorable shape, but he also owns one in Maple Heights, and it is on our demolition list. Now, Tangela, the list that we have, there is a list, but it's a list of hopefuls. They have to be given notice. We have to have the legal right to be able to enter in and demolish a property. So if there is a real demo list of like these houses are coming down, there is no list for that, because none of those homes on that list have moved over into the critical stage. So we're giving proper notice to people. So this man's house is on that list, and the address of this, and I really encourage people to drive by. It's off of Granger Road, and it's 5254 Beach. This is owned by this ex-state rep, who right now is on probation for tax evasion. He also owns property, and this really gets my goats, I'm sorry. He really still owns property in Wisconsin and in Kansas, and he does the same thing. He buys these houses and he just lets them sit there and just ferment like a fungus. And those are things that bring down this city. So one of the reasons why we applied for this demolition grant is to get rid of some of the fungus. There are plenty of houses, like the example that the land bank's doing right now, that could generate income, that could generate a homeowner, that could possibly even be like a land contract for someone that doesn't qualify for a home to still get into that home and then eventually become a homeowner. So there are things that are out there. There's good things that are out there. So that's hopefully some of the positive things that are happening, and some of the positive stuff that we're trying to do here as council. We shouldn't just be bickering. We have to move toward and forward and doing productive things. I'm tired of hearing of the same, I'm going to use a bad word, bitch and moan. I'm tired of it. The last thing that I want to also let you guys know is there's going to be a landlord forum. There's flyers up at the table along with some of the quality of life booklet that's up there that was created by council, me, in order to help people. I put that little plug in, I think, for that little laugh. But that was done a couple of years ago, and it was prompted because people were actually not knowing what the ordinances are, and it was to be given to people that were new people that moved into the city, tenants and homeowners, so that they know what the rules and the laws are. We have rules and laws, and it all affects our quality of life, and people need to know this. So that's also up there, and feel free to take as many, or if you want more, you can contact me or Kathy. But not to get away from this, there is a landlord workshop that's going to be here at the Senior Center on Tuesday, May 12th. Anybody is welcome to come to this. If you're a tenant, if you're a landlord, if you're in Maple Heights, or if you're not. There's going to be a number of letters sent to the major landlords that are owning, or the investors that own a lot of property here, to help people out with vetting tenants, how to do evictions. If there are tenants here and they want to hear about their rental rights, what the landlord is allowed and not allowed to do, this is an educational piece for people to come. And if there's an overwhelming desire, we could keep this going, and we could do this more than maybe once a year. But this is a start. And it's also to encourage the good landlords that will come to this, to have them keep the investment up in the property that they own. We are in fiscal emergency, but that doesn't mean that we're giving up. It doesn't mean that you still aren't going to cut your grass, or you're going to still not hang that flowering basket on your porch, or you're still not going to buy the toys for your kids to play in the backyard or put up a pool this summer. That doesn't affect our quality of life if we let it. So we still have the ability to move on, become neighbors, work with each other, and let's make this a real city, and let's just work together. And I would really like to outreach to everybody that's on both sides of the room to come together so we can do this. And I do hope that you do come to the meeting on the 22nd, because it's going to be informative. I got away from talking about the Community Development Corporation, but they do have one in South Euclid called One South Euclid. It's a quasi type of governmental nonprofit. And they could buy and sell houses through the land bank, which could generate money for the city. It also helps with mediation, and it helps with care. And that's something that we don't have here in the city. We need to encourage people to keep up their properties and to be proud of where they live. We're going to get over this emergency status, and it's going to come. You can smile, because it's going to come. But we still live here, and we're going to survive this. And I'm done. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. 6:30. 6:30. The housing meeting is at 6:30. I'm sorry, and the landlord starts from between 5:30 and 6:30 for like a meet and greet. And I'm hoping that a representative from the police department is going to come, and that's the landlord forum on the 12th. If there's none left there, you could see me and I'll give you info.
Thank you, Joe. Councilman Sepharadi, District
Do
3.
you want to clarify the dates and the times?
I don't care.
Next Wednesday, the Housing
Yeah.
Committee at 6:30, room 7. And then the Landlord is the Senior Center, May 12th at 5:30.
Thank you.
Any more questions, ask Ms. Jones. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to start by saying, people say, where's the plan? Where's the plan? There's a piece of it right in front of us. Ms. Jones has been working on it for quite a long time, along with other city officials and some other council members, getting rid of the blight through the demo fund. That, in the long run, will help this city. So people who say there's no plan, yeah, there is no grand 20-page plan, plan in front of us, but there is work that is being done by council that is stepping towards the betterment of the city. And I just want to thank Ms. Jones and everybody who's involved with this demo list for all their help, because it's going to amount to a lot of money and hopefully a lot of houses coming down. So, first round only. Okay, well, thank you. I also wanted to kind of comment on the residents of District 3. Through the years, you build relationships with people. People have been here a long time, people have just moved in, and a lot of those people were, and still are, my eyes and ears throughout the city, and especially District 3, and I wanted to extend a special thank you to them. Their help has been instrumental to preserving what we have in District 3 and also improving. So as time goes on towards the end of the year, I'll be thanking them personally, but I just wanted to state that for the record. I also wanted to make a note here. I wanted to inform residents why the city will probably again place a property tax levy on the ballot this fall. Substantial cuts in state funding have reduced revenue. State contributions to our general fund have been reduced annually due to changes in state funding. Over $332,000 was cut from an initial budget to come up with final approval. Forecasted budgets for 2016 and beyond show continual reductions, which still result in spending excess of revenue. By 2020, it is forecasted the city will be broke. Budget cuts to this point have mostly been made to major projects, not day-to-day expenses. We don't want to reach the point where we have cut safety forces and street employees due to budgetary issues. I wanted to read that to make a point that we are not the only one in this situation. This is a direct quote from a councilman in Summit County, a village in Summit County. And this is just part of what he wrote. I'm not going to bore you with the numbers and all that, ladies and gentlemen, but if you really look at it, it sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it? I think it does. And this is Summit County. This is not Cuyahoga County. This is the realization of what has gone on over the years and where we are at. Other cities and other villages are still a year or two behind us. We are kind of like leading the way in this of what we have to do. And we said it time and time again. You raise revenue, you build businesses, or you make the cuts. The cuts are in the safety forces, ladies and gentlemen. Where do you want to go with your city? That is the question. That's why I read this, because this gentleman is asking the village for $400,000 so they can keep their police and their safety forces in line with what they have right now. So it doesn't matter if you have a $50 million budget or a $1.9 million budget. This is happening everywhere in Ohio and probably across the United States. So that's why you really have to think hard about what you want your city to be and where you want to go with it. And that's why you need to vote. It's one of the reasons why I introduced this legislation for the senior center. We need to help the seniors the best we can. And that is one step in the plan. If anybody else has any other ideas on what to do, again, let's hear them. But this is the realization of this, and I hate to be a little bit of a downer here, ladies and gentlemen, but it's the truth. We're not the only one in this situation. So let's work at it, piece by piece, and we'll get through it. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you, Anthony. Councilman Jackson, District 4.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. One of the things that I heard this evening is that it doesn't matter, or the reality about the senior center. I know this was kind of broken. And I also heard complaints about snow removal and potholes. All those things cost money and take money. I also heard about supporting the senior center, but if you don't support it with your votes or with your money, then do you really believe in that support? And also before, you heard about living within your means. Well, you know what? I got a plan that we can balance our budget this year. We'll lay off about 10 policemen, 10 firemen. We'll close the senior center, close the service department, and then we can lay off our mechanic because there won't be any trucks there for him to fix our cars. That's what balancing the budget would look like this year. How many people out there would want that? I think nobody. So what's the alternative to that, to all those cuts? Would be hopefully to raise some type of revenue to try to ward that off. And that's why also we've been in the plan to get out of fiscal emergency. They give you 5 years to do it because they know that you cannot get rid of that kind of debt in a short period of time. When you're in debt, just like I said before, at your house, you either cut expenses or you go out and get another job. those are our options here too. I want to thank Mr. Lowe for his donation to the body cameras to the police department. I also want to say I've been getting a lot of calls and emails from residents about disputes, neighborly disputes. A lot of those, they want you to come over and kind of intermediate between the two. And you can do some of that, hopefully, but some of that falls to the police department and in the court system. As a council person, you cannot get in the middle of some of those things. Also, I'll say my newsletter will be going out this weekend. I'll probably take a week to get distributed through my district. And a report.
Thank you, Councilman. Just a couple of announcements for you this evening. Finally, with a little bit of sunshine and not too much rain, we are going to look forward to the return of the community garden, hopefully. We will be having a startup meeting at the Maple Heights Library on the 23rd of April at the library, probably 7 to 8. Anybody who would like to join us or has an idea or would just like to bring your additional catalogs that you don't want anymore, receipt catalogs, feel free to come in and we'll talk about gardens. The other thing that I think Chief Popolarczyk mentioned is the domestic violence program that we've put together. You know, I'm a proponent of education, and there's nothing wrong with getting information. We've tried to do this over the years and give anyone in the neighborhood information which will give them a little bit of a better idea of how things are run. And the domestic violence that occurs in not only our city but throughout the country, and you look at the newspaper, every day there's something that happens. It's changed, the rules for that have changed, and we will have Judge Nicastro who will talk about the courts, our chief who will talk about the process with the police, and also the advocates who run the domestic violence advocacy program downtown will be with us in 2 weeks. This is on the 28th. There might be a few flyers left back there, but I invite anybody who's interested in that information. You don't have to be touched by the violence, but I think it's always helpful to have some information. Another reminder, in addition to squabbles with neighbors, I'm getting a lot of calls about loose dogs, animals that are running, and it's really hard to catch them. We have a part-time animal warden, so I'm going to appeal to the dog owners to keep an eye on your dogs. Make sure that you have tags on them so that if they are picked up, they can be forwarded back to you as the dog owner. And I also want to let you know that there are businesses that are coming into Maple Heights, not just the one that you heard tonight. And we do have other folks that are interested in coming into Maple Heights. So we are moving. We're moving slowly. We're moving carefully, but we are moving. And there are a lot of other things that we have ideas on, positive ideas, and hopefully we can take those home with us tonight. Thank you very much for attending this evening, and at this point in time, we have no further business coming before the council. This meeting is adjourned at 8:30.